But I think you're safe to start, and people will catch up as they come in.
Then this is what we'd like you to do, folks. On your name, by your name, click on it and change your name and put your grade level as the first letter, first number by your name, because then we're going to break up into rooms, and it'll make it so much easier if you help us by saying what grade you're in. So first grade, put 1, second grade, put 2, the number 2. And you can change your name, and in the yeah, just I think if you, where it says more and it says rename, do that and put the number. So everybody
Before we break into any groups, though, we do have the phonics group and Robin with math that wanted to kind of share out what they've been doing to help support teachers.
Okay, we can do that. But that's great what everybody's doing. Thank you very much.
And then if you are assigned to a resource room and you would like to be paired with a grade level team, make sure you change yours to a grade level team. And if you would like to meet with a special ed team, you can put SE in front of your name.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks. Seeing. Oh, this is cool. This will make it so much easier to break into rooms. Doug, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Well, and if anybody's having trouble, just to repeat what was already said, on your bottom menu where you can click on the chat, there's a participant where you can see there's 56 participants. If you click on the participants, it'll show you a whole list and your name should be at the top. And it's there where you kind of hover over and click the more button to rename yourself. And I have no idea what grade level I'll go into, so I'll type in 5th grade now.
Denise, will you mute yourself and see if you're the echo?
I'm so sorry if it's.
Yes, it's you.
I'm just unmuting for a second because I wanted to test my microphone. I am on the road and I don't even know what state I'm in right now. Where are we? So I don't know how well it's going to work. We were in Iowa this morning, so I apologize if I cut out.
No problem.
So if, Monique, if I heard you correctly, as most people now figured out how to rename by clicking participants and going over their name, we're getting pretty close. Even our friend who's driving in Iowa found a way to put in 3rd grade there. So I think that was really helpful. And I think that you're going to just kind of open up the floor for a minute for, I know Robin was meeting with you and Liette last night on math expressions and roadmaps. So maybe we can start there with the math expressions that everyone's going to have access to.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robin Decker from the ISD. I think I know like almost everybody, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to share out in the chat a link to a presentation that I just finished like while we were on this meeting. And then I'm going to share my screen. Really, you don't even need to worry about getting into that presentation right now. It's just for those of you that if, for whatever reason, you don't hear something or see a link, then you can go back to this because what I'm going to share with you is in this presentation. So this is just really for you to reference later on your own time, just in case you missed something. I'd highly recommend just sitting back for about 15 minutes and watch me, because we will explore all of this in our grade level groups next week as well, and a little bit today. So the purpose of this presentation right now is this short intro is just to access the digital learning environment for math expressions, the grade level unit 1 lessons. And then I'm going to show you what Monique and Liette and I put together last night for a template for what you might use, and they'll help me with that as well. So these are the places that we're going to explore: the OAISD website. And again, down here in the notes, you're going to see that I have things linked up. I do have on the bottom, if you notice, ultramathpd.com. That is a very, very rough website that I have that will link up to the OAISD. It's really just, again, another way to get to these remote resources. So I just wanted to make sure that you didn't get lost in the shuffle with where to find these. So we're going to talk about these materials. The first thing that we'll do is, if you ever get lost, if you ever just go to the oaisd.org, I was not hovering, and then down again in the notes, it shows that you want to navigate to the instructional services, elementary resources, and then this is really important. I didn't put the username and password in there because it is protected. I'm going to put it in the chat right now, but please do not share this, because these resources that I'm going to give to you are going to be for the lessons and activities are not to share publicly. Okay, this is just for this co-op. So the username is ultramath, and then the password is K5mathEXP. And again, there's no capitals or anything like that, but that's just because, and then go ahead in your own like safe place or whatever, put that username and password. And what that's going to do is it'll eventually take you to a choice between 2018 and 2013 math expressions. You want to click on the 2018 math expressions, and it'll take you to a page that looks similar to this right here. Once you're on this page, and I know that I'm going fast, but that's okay because all of these things are written down and linked for you. Once you have this page right here, then what you're going to do is we're going to go in, and right now we'll look at these remote learning documents. Inside those remote learning documents, again, this is for later on, this will have the digital learning environment. It has sample schedules. It talks about 2013 and 18 pacing. Please don't worry about this, as like I said before, we'll go over your pacing with you when we meet in our grade level groups. But if you want to get an idea, I would encourage you to look at this. From there, what we'll do is I'm going to have you actually, I think I got these out of order a little bit, but that's okay. If I take you back to this slide right here, this page, so we're back to that math expressions, Common Core resources page. And then what I'll have you do is I want you to go to this page right here, which are the math updates. You can tell I just put this together. Once we get into the math updates, what's most important are these lessons and activities in Unit 1. But what we're going to explore today are the digital learning environment documents and the digital environment resources. The learning environment is just an explanation, and it gives you the information to get to Dr. Fusen or Shannon, my friend out in California, her website, or she didn't want me to put my OAISD email, so I just have a different one. You can always click on that here button, and it'll launch you into this next page, which is right here, the Master Digital Learning Environment. And this is what I'm going to take and explore right now. Again, it's okay if this is too fast, it's all right, because I've got it all written down in those directions, and I will pop into your grade levels and make sure you know how to get there. But I just wanted you to know what was in here. So when you go to the roadmap, if you want to try populating it, then these are available for you, or we can just wait till next week when we're together. Once you're on this digital learning environment page, these master resources, then what you're going to do is you can pop in, here, I'll get to the live one. Every one of these through grade 6, this whole page is, you share it out to anybody you want to, regardless of the program that they're in. Even though it says Math Expressions, it was funded by the National Science Foundation. So you'll be all set to share these out with anybody that you'd like. The digital learning environment slides, these are going to be your actual, I'll show kindergarten. It takes a few seconds to load because it's going to force you to make a copy. The reason why we force you to make a copy is because we want to make sure you keep it in edit mode. When you're in edit mode, you can move around the manipulatives. The purpose of the digital learning environment on Google Slides is to give students the hands-on manipulatives that they once had when they were face-to-face. If you click on these slides, they'll give you videos on how to set this up in your classroom and how to use these slides. So I'm not going to go over that right now. It gives you a video on how to use Jamboard, and then it goes right into, Here is Unit 1 for kindergarten. You click on slide 6. This is for Unit 1, lessons 2 to 9. Don't worry about how we're going to implement this, just know that it's available. And that all of these, when you hover over it and make it look like a compass, are movable. So these are the bin of materials that you got from Math Expressions that are no longer in your fingertips anymore, but are now able to be used with your students virtually. Again, we'll go over how to use these later on, but just know every single Google slide deck that's digital learning environments is made with those hands-on manipulatives. The next piece would be the Jamboards. I'll go into grade 2 on the Jamboards. When I click on this, again, it forces you to make a copy. And we'll explain a few ways on how to populate that into roadmaps to make it either collaborative or to make it independent. Sarah DePasty and I worked on that right before we popped onto this meeting today to see if we really understood it. So I think we're there. If these take a little bit long to load, it's just because they're big files. So just be patient with it. When I share this with my students, what I do is I give them access to edit. As you can see here, it's restricted. I would want to say anyone with the link is able to edit. And then I would copy that link. And I'll put that into the chat right now, just in case you feel like jumping on here, because we'll be able to see everything that you do on this, which is awesome. The purpose of these Jamboards are to make sure that when your students are doing these, I can see anybody working on them. So I see that somebody's joined right here. Anybody can work on slide 4. Go ahead and play with these, mess them up. This is just a copy. Do whatever you want on here. You can make numbers. You can use sticky notes or upload images, whatever you feel like doing. Again, we won't go over this. I don't want to steal from the roadmaps time, but I just want you to see that I can watch you work and I could put you in small groups to work on this. Why I love this is because I can write on this and I can't write on the Google Slides. So that is the purpose of the Jamboard when we were creating it, was to give students a way where I could have student 1 give me the secret code cards, student 2 could give me the written with the pen, and student 3 could maybe write the numbers 40 like this. So it's going to allow you to collaborate together on maps and use fun things. I love the sticky notes. Great job. As I quickly go through that, now I want to jump into daily routines, which are pre-kindergarten through grade 2. Daily routines are pre-kindergarten through grade 2. Again, it will force you to make a copy of this. There are so many ways to use this. What I intended, or what Karen and I intended, was that this was for synchronous learning, although I have a feeling that some of you might be able to use it in many, many, many different ways. So when I say that it was intended for synchronous, it is not limited to that. Then, then what we have is the daily routine. I always give the teacher directions, and then we lead right into what you would be doing with your whole group. It's completely scripted out. I had a kindergarten group that we beta tested this with this year, and they had so much fun because afterwards their teacher gave them this file right here of just these slides, and they went over and they taught their stuffed animals and videotaped them teaching their stuffed animals the routine. And the parents loved it because here in the notes at the bottom, it gives the exact words that you want to say for each slide. So we made this very, very user-friendly. Eventually what we do is we strip down. If it changes to a different lesson, that's fine. But we'll get rid of the extra teacher directions as you begin to use these slides more often. Finally, last but not least, are the quick practices. I'm going to jump into grade 5 to show you those. Grade 5 quick practices are for pre-kindergarten through grade 6. And you'll see that we only have Unit 1 done on these, but I just finished Unit 2 last night, so those will be populated. Finally, and I see a lot of questions coming up about emails and if that works on iPads. I believe that it works very well on iPads. Emails, I think that's still something that we'll need to have for roadmaps, but I'm not positive. I'll let somebody else take that. Finally, here's the quick practice. Again, it gives you the teacher directions, and then it gives you some ideas on leading the quick practice. It'll go in and tell you which lessons you're going to use it for, how to use it. And then I want you to see what we did with this is we made these, again, all interactive but locked down. So you're not going to mess these up here. But if I wanted to make a fraction less than 1/2, I could bring down 1/4. And then I wanted a fraction smaller than 1/4. I might do 16ths right here. And so I can use my secret code cards and build these fractions that are smaller than 1/2. Those are what are on all of this document right here. If I switch back to my presentation here, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a copy of this. I'm going to go back in to, oops, sorry about that. I'm going to go back to our grade level slide. So if I clicked on 2nd grade or 3rd grade or 5th grade or whatever, I guess I have 2 2nd grades on there. If I click on one of these, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up into, let's say, grade 5. And grade 5 will open up all of Unit 1, Lesson 1. Right now I'm on grade 5, Lesson 3. What I did for every lesson, and this is for kindergarten through grade 5, you'll have the quick practice embedded into your lesson. You'll have directions if it's brand new to you. Otherwise, it'll just have the directions in there. So quick practices are all in there. And then this is a long one. We'll get there. Then I have the table of contents. So you know that you're on lesson 3 of unit 1. Then we start with the check understanding question. And then right here is success criteria. So you know what these students have to be successful with in order to do this lesson. What I've figured, what I thought will be helpful is if you have your students do this first, it will help you navigate how slow or how fast to move through an activity. Please understand, I know that there are some logistics that need to happen in here. So just hang on tight on that and we'll work on it. Yes, these are all view only, so you don't request access, you make a copy. So go into view only, then make a copy, and then it becomes yours to edit as you wish. Activity 1, as you can see, we've got your student activity pages in here. We've got everything all listed in here. It's color coded. So when you switch on to, we've got pairs if it's intended for pairs. And then we go into another lesson and it will change color. So I'm on activity 2. And then we always end this with that check understanding question at the end. So remember what I said, I just want you to see what's available. And what we will do is in our grade level groups, we will make some decisions and choices on which parts would be live, which parts will be asynchronous, which ones we'll make videos to. We'll start talking about what parts of roadmaps are gonna help us in completing these roadmaps. So please, they will not be allowed in the repository at all because these are copyrighted. The only thing in the repository will be the, if they want to, would be the daily routine, quick practice, and the digital learning environments. So
Robin, would you like Liat to share the template she put together, or?
That would be, yep, that's exactly. The only reason why I wanted you all to have access to this was only for the reason to play. Do not even think in your mind what you're going to do with them, just play. And I promise that we will definitely get together and then Liat will go ahead and show the roadmap template. But again, please just play. I didn't go over any instructional strategies, nothing. I just gave you links to all of these places. So please just play and then we'll figure out all next steps. All right, I will stop sharing.
Thank you.
Liat's pulling it up right now.
Awesome.
So yesterday we took all the pieces that that Robin was talking about, and Liat put together a beautiful template. So this template can be used for the math expressions. And so if there are only 2 activities, you just dump one of the activities out, right? You just easily delete it. But this is the template. Did you want to explain this, Robin?
Sure. So in this template, what we have is the check understanding, and then that's going to, right now, and remember, all of this can change. But what we're thinking is you do that check understanding question on a calligraphy, I don't, PDF file, so they can draw right on it. And then what they would do is they go into a daily routine, and that's a web resource. And maybe that is, it could be something where we do a Zoom meeting. The daily routine could be where you push out a little video and the students do a video back to you. Lots of opportunities there. Then we go into the quick practice. Again, that's a 3 to 5 minute, no longer than 5 minutes, you know, could be 1 minute long, so less than 5 minutes. Again, maybe you would do that synchronously, and you would do that whole group or small group, depending on how many students you have. And so that might be your Google, where you would just put Google Slides. And then activity 1, maybe that one really is a small group. Maybe you have to have teacher instruction for that. So you would connect a Zoom link to that one. Let's say activity 2 was one of those where it was a lot of independent work. You might choose to do activity 2 and populate it where yesterday, remember how we had this, the teacher was maybe doing a little, because it's all typed out for you and you can cut and paste. You might put the questions down and then have the students reply either in voice or and then other students might need to listen to 3 students' answers, something along that line. And then maybe activity 3 is maybe just a mini lesson, or maybe it's just there's something else out there that, or maybe it's a collaborative area where I want them to work in small groups, and we'd go to that collaborative class area and I would arrange for them to be in pairs or small groups, and they would work on a word problem together or problem solve and see each other's work being populated. That collaborative class area, that might not happen until November. It's okay, maybe it'll happen, you know, sooner or later. And then those teacher resources that are hidden with that apple, what that is that's the entire presentation that I just gave to you for lesson 1. So you might try today to put unit 1, lesson 1 into the teacher resources, and maybe you try to just pull the check understanding, or maybe you try to pull just the daily routine or the quick practice, but don't worry about the activities. Yeah, you might load up a Jamboard, but I can show you later on how to push that out so you can have kids working collaboratively by putting in the URL, or you could have them working solo. These are all things that I swear last night at 8:30 at night, we wrapped up our call, and 10 minutes before this meeting started, Sarah Tapassi and I were on there figuring out how to do this as well. So please know that all of these questions are wonderful. I love them, and we're learning with you, and we're gonna get there. And just remember that you probably won't be using much of this for your first week of school. We're gonna work on getting to know each other and building classroom community at that time.
Awesome.
I just want to add, piggybacking off what Robin said, the reason we put everything in Google Slides for you right now is that you can really just snip the slides that you need from the wonderful presentations that Robin has already created. And as you feel more comfortable with the platform, you can start changing the types of apps that you're using, Collaborify, Writer, PDF, PAL, whatever you feel would be the best for each activity as you feel more comfortable with those.
Great. So moving now toward phonics. Jennifer, did you have something that you wanted to share?
Yeah, Sarah and I were just going to give a quick update. Oh, now we can see. Sarah, you want to start with what we talked about?
Sure. So we mentioned to many of you earlier this week that as we knew that MESA was an option for curriculum for reading and writing, they did not have a word work or phonics component. So in looking at what local districts are using, we are looking at going with the units of study for phonics for K2. Those units of study for phonics would include the virtual resources that Teachers College has provided. So what that will give for each individual teacher is the mini lessons for each phonics lesson, video recorded for you. And then based on what Teachers College felt for the other components of the phonics workshop, there are videos for the rug club or extensions as they worked well for that a virtual piece. They also include some options for parent videos for each unit that give the parents an overview of what the video will, or the unit will be about, and the key things that they want students to learn. And they also have teacher videos explaining what's going on in that piece too. So those pieces are all done on there. We'll be working as a collaborative team with our literacy folks at the ISD on working to create some of the manipulatives that, just like Robin was showing for reading or for math, but for the reading piece. So if letter tiles or word sorts are required for a lesson, figuring out a way to do that. We also realize some parents might not want to do that on the computer. And so we know that all of those resources are also on there to be printed. That would be burdensome to print them all, but some parents may prefer to have their kids manipulate those physically. And so we can have options for parents to pull those off online too. So
we'll talk more about this when we get in grade levels and go deeper, but we wanted to set your minds at ease to know that we've addressed this.
Yep, and with all of us together, we'll have to work together to figure out exactly the best ways to attach those to roadmaps, because there will be some usernames and passwords required. That's the way TC has those set up. So we'll definitely need to teach our kids how to use those systems, but all of the, at least those teaching portions will be there available for us. So that's our brief version of the phonics update. We'll definitely have more pieces to talk about with you in the future. And for those of you that may not be familiar with those units, please know that we'll also give you some overview of how phonics workshop might look, and the differences between how that might look in a physical classroom and how we might think about it in the virtual setting.
Yep.
Okay.
We will come alongside. And then was Doug, are we going to send this to Doug? Because I think Doug had an update a little bit to add to that.
Well, I certainly can, but Monique and Elliot, thanks so much for just letting us talk with the teachers there for a moment. We just want all the teachers that are involved in this co-op to know how much we want to support them and give them opportunities to come together in grade levels, not just online today, but I think we're planning on having some opportunities on Monday and Thursday of next week around 10 a.m. that Sarah, Jen, and Robin are putting together some opportunities for the teachers to come together to maybe begin building some of the things that you guys are talking about today, about building that first week of roadmaps. And I know you're talking about that today as well. Maybe we're going to focus on the second week. Maybe we're going to focus on some of those templates, then math expressions that Robin talked about, and some of the phonics that Jen and Sarah are talking about. We are also pursuing some additional funds, just with some grants and some philanthropy to kind of support this whole piece. And one of the things that we're looking to support is this phonics piece in the Teachers College, giving you guys access to a subscription to Teachers College, which will open up just a whole realm of mini lesson videos and resources that are coming in that we'll be able to tie and add to. There's some great curriculum with inside the roadmaps, but we know that there's some supplemental material that can still be added, and that there's still room for teachers to continue to add their own flavor and to be the teachers for these kids. But we are pursuing that. I should have some more information next week if I'm able to pop in on Monday or Thursday when we offer what we might call some PLC time for you guys to get together with Sarah, Jen, and Robin. So I think that's all that I had, but did I miss anything?
Yeah,
No.
just to clarify, the subscription Doug's talking about would be to add on for K-5 for the beyond the phonics pieces. So for reading and writing, the mini lessons that go with those pieces. So that's what we're still looking at, those number pieces and whatnot, but that's what Doug's talking about there, is beyond just the phonics pieces.
And those beyond the phonics pieces, truly, they do match up pretty nicely with almost all of the MESA units. Just so you know, you're not starting all over, right? They do match up quite nicely because we've always taught MESA, and then we switched to Lucy Calkins. So, I mean, they do match really nicely. A few little tweaks here and there about how things are done, but other than that, it's a good match for sure. Another thing that I think we should really do before we go into our groups to set people's mind at ease is that Liat's been working to put together the kids PD, student PD, right? So I don't want you to feel like you have to build that out. She's been working to put those together. So Liat's going to share her screen real quick and show how she's created these maps to help students walk through like the first week of instruction.
Yeah, so again, we know you have a lot in your minds for the first week of school, so we wanted to pull out a few resources to support you as you start using roadmaps and start the year. First and foremost, before I go into the map, we have the Need Help tab on our website that have FAQs for you and how-to tutorials. We encourage you to go here and watch and learn as you get familiar with the system. In addition, other resources that we have are, let me go here, are the kids, too many tabs, are the kids PD. They will be in 2 separate maps, one for K2 or non-readers and one for the older kids, and they consist of 2 maps. One is the permission map, because the first time you use any app on roadmaps, you need to give Google permissions, and we don't want you to come across it as you're trying to teach and 30 kids are screaming, oh my God, what happens? So this is a fun way to do it. It takes about 15 minutes. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. Each activity will ask them to give Google permissions. You have a video here explaining how they do it. And they need to figure out what is the mystery object. This is the older kids map, so it does require reading, and the younger kids map, they just need to look at the clues, and then let's see if they get the answer right. What is the mystery object? And then the second map is a visit to Disneyland, where they get to practice the most common or frequently used apps. If you see an app you don't want to expose your kids to just yet, or you don't think you'll be using, you can just Apple Note it. So for example, when they visit Galaxy Edge, they work on PDF-Pal, and they have a maze, so they get to practice how to write and type on a PDF as they do something with Star Wars, and it's really cute. So that's another map for them to get familiarized with the different apps that we offer. I also Apple noted here, you have the option to talk to them about working together in collaboratively and using the phone feature. I know that this is something that some teachers are not interested in doing just as the year starts, so it's Apple noted. If you want your kids to see it, you need to take the Apple off. So that is the Kids PD. Another thing that we offer you after our conversation, after the meeting that we had yesterday, I was inspired. I heard a lot of people concerned about how we'll get to know our kids and how will we make that connection with them. So I was inspired to make the first week of school map. And this is a platform to you, and we'll have a video showing you how to make this map a collaborative map. So all the kids are working on the same map, kind of like the driving question board, if you remember from our first PD. And it allows them to, again, explore and practice the different apps that Roadmaps offers as they do bonding and getting to know each other activities. For example, the PD, and I wrote some ideas here in the teacher plan, but I'm sure you're more creative than me and you have a ton of ideas for first week activities that you want to do. But for example, the PDF, you can do anything you would have done with a huge poster. Older kids can write rules and norms and then use the highlighter to check what others wrote and highlight important norms. Smaller kids, they can all be drawing something that you're describing and then scroll back and forth and see what others have drawn. So really they can test the tools and do an icebreaker or an activity to get to know each other with the different apps. So those are all resources that will also be available for you for the first week of school.
This is awesome, Leah. So someone asked, as a teacher, can we go through these and get familiar with the apps too? I said, absolutely. Will you show them the 3 dots in the corner, how to pull a student link? So once they grab it from the repository and it's in the teacher roadmap, they can get a student link and then put it in a URL to get their own student map to mess around with.
And all of these maps will be available tonight. They are being reviewed and spell proofed right now by our lovely reviewer. So you get them perfect, and they'll be up by tonight in the repository. So basically, as you noticed, I clicked the 3 dots on the top. I chose student link, and now I'm just pasting it in a new tab. And it will show me the same map, but in the student format, so you can see what they see.
Liad, I think that that is a beautiful creation, because that really puts teachers at ease of, how am I going to teach these kids how to do this, right? I mean, this really puts them at ease, saying, okay, this is going to be cool, because now I have the resources to be able to go through it step by step with my kids and refresh myself while, you know, they're learning too.
And as you can see, all the ideas and all the thoughts and ideas that we left for you, the teacher, the kids can see it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. We have an hour and 15 minutes for our groups today. I think everybody has put their grade level in. Am I correct in saying that?
Oh, there's
we have
still,
a few.
yeah, still some names that need to put the grade level, please.
Some of them are content coaches, so they won't be joining the grade level groups.
Okay. You probably were checking that all out and chatting them, weren't you?
Know it.
I
Thank
know.
you, Dawn.
Such a great job on the chat. Takes a team, people. That's why we need to break up into teams, right? It takes a team. I think that it's really hard to think about this going at it alone. And so really, you need to get to know the people that you're going to be working with and bounce ideas off them and really try to go at it as a team. He's setting up our breakout rooms right now.
Yep, I'm trying to figure it out. Yep.